Damn, I'm good.
Boom, ladies, back with another episode of StarCraft Inc. Hells yeah. Alright, SSN Yorosmai is our player today, and you'll notice that I'm really following the SSN players lately, and there's a reason for that. We're finally becoming successful on the scene. SSN Spite actually just went to MLG. She got an interview. It was pretty cool. You can find that interview on my channel. Maybe I'll link to it in the description. Maybe not. We'll see how I'm feeling after this cast. But, yeah, no, right now, your SSN Yorosmai is streaming live. He is rank 1 Master League and really aiming for Grandmaster next season. We'll see where that goes. And all the other SSN players are actually top masters. All the active ones, I should say. And I don't really consider myself one of the players. I'm more of the PR. I do play, but I'm not nearly as good as the others because I really don't have the time to practice. Thanks to university and, you know, I live with my girlfriend and stuff. It just, you know, it consumes. So, not really the time to compete like the other players, but I do want to let you know what goes on in the clan. So SSN Yorosmai is our icon of the day. Hoorah! And this is very top of the Master League, ladies and gentlemen. This is a ladder match sent to me just today, so hopefully no rush 40. Yeah, smiley face. Anyway, yeah, so no expansion yet. We're only at 15 supply. So that's not really strange. We are going to see that 15 hatch, and we'll see maybe 15 pool. That's going to be my guess. No, it'll be a 15 pool. There we go. What would be fun, though? Man, I remember Brood War back in the day where a man could say no rush 40 and still keep his manlyhood. Maybe in a custom sometime. Okay. Anyway, we are going to see that 16 pool, actually. So a little bit of actually I should say a really economic style here, and we're scouting no expansion from the Terran player, although it might come down now. It looks like Senfio is trying to block his own expansion. Fantastic. And will this drone go down? It dodges with its life. That Marine will go without a mercy kill today, and Yorosmai now almost completing that expansion, not sitting on too many harvesters. We go to the income tab, 17 to 15. So he is ahead, which is pretty standard at this point in time. And we will see the gas. So I'm going to guess Ling speed will come out as soon as he has enough gas over like a fast layer. He probably won't skip Ling speed. Ling speed is very important in every matchup. I don't think there's a matchup where it's not important. You can get away with it in ZVZ without it if you're going to go for more of a roach build. But you do want to get it eventually, no matter what, in every matchup. There's no reason not to get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go without that Ling speed. I was actually at my brother's house the other day, and we were playing in the lower leagues just for shits and giggles. And I saw a lot of players just not getting that Ling speed. Like, you'd be 15, 16 minutes into the game. And even in the low levels, man, I don't know why you guys think that's okay. It just does so much for you. And, yeah, no, I really don't know. I'm going to try not to get distracted by the banter. I haven't watched this game, so every time they talk on the screen, I'm tempted to read it, and I can't, like, speak and read at the same time. Impossible. No. I'm sure there's people that can do that. My girlfriend can speak the alphabet backwards without even thinking about it. Like, she could be just, like, juggling and scratching my back with her feet and then reciting the alphabet backwards. That's how a typical night here goes. Maybe some pizza. Anyway, Marines killing some Lings. I didn't really see how many died. I was busy talking about pizza back scratching and juggling, but I'm a fantastic commentator. Are I not? Am I not? Grammar, ladies and gentlemen. Orbital command going down on the expansion for Senfio, and we're going to see a reactor over a tech lab and a factory. So are we going to see that reactor hot swap onto the factory? We'll see. You thought 2 racks, Senfio says. And I don't know what Yorosmai thought, but there's no speed here. He is not... Oh, speed almost done. There we go. I don't know why I didn't just look up at the production tab. I'm a little rusty. I'm not going to lie. I haven't cast in almost a week now. But school is almost done. Oh my god, can I not wait for school to be done. And when school's done, I will just freaking rape a line of replays for you, cast back to back to back to back, and I'll get some real content going on this channel. Heart of the Swarm, going to be out soon, so that means I'll be giving away 2 copies of the game to someone awesome. and we'll see who that turns out to be. But yeah, if you haven't entered in that contest, go look for it. You can probably just search it into YouTube and you'll find us. Say StarCraft Inc. Heart of the Swarm contest, blah 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 blah. And we got some Hellions on the field, so clearly we did hot swap the factory onto the reactor, and a tech lab is on one as well. These Lings actually going to do quite a bit of damage to these Hellions, and yeah, not a good thing to be contained when going for Hellions. The idea of Hellions is more or less to contain your opponent and do some harass, kind of like Muta, but if your opponent's squashed you back into your own base, Hellions don't do much, especially when there's an army of roaches. And these roaches are going to do quite a bit of damage here, I think. There's not much to stop them. Lots of splash damage here. Ling's getting in on this supply depot. He needs to focus that down right away, and down it goes. It looks like now the roaches are no longer enough because there are too many Hellions here doing massive amounts of splash damage. Oh my god, my volume is loud. But, man, it's crazy how much damage Hellions do when there's enough of them, even to roaches. A couple roaches going to go down. Good micro on the Hellions, almost saving that one. And these roaches will go down as he takes a third and reseals this wall with supply depots. Interesting idea. It's always interesting to see the supply depots as the wall because they go down so easily. And it's very easy to get supply blocked that way. But it is more versatile than obviously the production structures, because then you can hide your production as well as, you know, open and close these rather than lifting them off, etc., etc. But we'll see what happens here. We're seeing Yorosmai still contained now after losing those roaches because of these Hellions, and he cannot take his third right away. However, he's pushing up a little bit with spines, just up to his ramp, I guess. I thought it was farther than that on the map. And a couple more roaches coming out. He could, in theory, push these Hellions back. We are seeing Siege Tech come out for these tanks that are now out for Sinfio, and command center almost done. We will see Yorosmai behind in economics here very shortly if he does not get the third base up and going. Now, I guess the option is he could take some hidden remote expansion, but it's not a good idea for a Zerg player to do that, and it's not easy to hide either, seeing as how the only viable way to protect that base, if it gets found, is by having creep connection. And if you have creep connection, it's very easy to find because, you know, follow the yellow brick road, or in this case the purple slimy gooey shit, but I don't know. And this third base will start to go up. Actually the command center for his opponent is finished already, will be landing and probably in orbital before this hatchery even finishes, which is bad news bears for Yorosmai, as that very much means Sinfio is way ahead. In terms of income, I want to take a look here. We have 49 workers for the Zerg player and 44 for the Terran player, and it's not enough of a lead as a Zerg player. You want definitely more than that, and we will see missile turrets. This Terran player definitely knows the Muta timing that comes with that amount of Lings that are now on the field. If you see here, we took a huge swing away from roaches into Zerglings, and that's a very big indicator to Terran players that Muta are on the way. And that is exactly what happened. But even though there's missile turrets up, these... Oh, there's a Thor now, too. Yorosmai not seeing that Thor right away. Going to back out with his Muta after taking a little bit of damage. Going to take a quick fourth here. Breaking down the rocks and will now creep his tumors over there. Probably going to be taking the gold as his next expansion rather than these remote bases here. It's just easier to defend, especially with good creep spread. This Ling Muta Ball is... not really the composition you want against this mech build. Maybe if he gets his numbers up more, but he needs to transition into Broodlords, I think, late game, if he's going to be facing a Thor Siege Tank Hellion army. We will see these rocks begin to go down as Yorosmai is kind of planning for a future attack, but this will be a planetary fortress rather than an orbital command, which is an interesting choice, a very defensive one. And I think the mech kind of style needs to be a defensive play, as it is a very slow and sluggish army. When it pushes, it needs to commit to that push, so it wants to be a big scary-ass death ball that's going to do the maximum amount of damage. Some Blue Flame Hellions go down to some Roach Muta, which I don't know why the Terran player thought he'd be able to get away with that. So this defensive turtle-styling Terran has to take his third and place it back into the main. Lots of Muta trying to DPS down that command center, but the Thor is getting in. And Yorosmai losing a lot of Muta since Sympheo really sticking to this mech style, and it's very interesting. The composition that he's going for. It's very rare that we see a Terran player do something like this. I'm so used to seeing the mass bio, which is a much more mobile play. This reminds me of, this very much reminds me of the little one back when he played Terran. He always went for like the weird quirky, you know, mech and air Terran, sky Terran, blah 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 blah. He went for the ravens and the ghosts and the drops, and oh, it was so cool. But we are seeing some sort of weird wonky style. Very mechish from Sympheo, which is so rare nowadays. I think once Heart of the Swarm comes out, we have the Battle Hellions and the new Thor, whatever the new one's called, I don't even know. I think mech will be a little more popular, as the mech army will be a little bit better at dealing with everything, I think. Because I think the new Thor has an air attack too, is just like the, I don't know. We'll see, guys. The metagame is always changing, and the expansion is gonna, you know, this is the first expansion that StarCraft 2 has ever gone through. So it'll be really, really awesome to see what direction it takes the game in. Hopefully not a bad one. But anyway, we will see Yorosmai actually getting some pretty good saturation up on this 4th base, protected by 1 spine crawler, and we do see a transition into... Oh, wow, how long has the production tab been open? Guys, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Anyway, Infestor's out now. And we do see Neural Parasite coming out for those, and a Greater Spyro. So the Infestors seem to be just kind of a mid-game transition into those Broodlords, gonna help him support his army, obviously creating that transition into the Broodlord Infestor, and this is very painful for Yorosmai. Bunch of Lings getting in here, stopping him from losing too many drones, and that was actually quite a good save, good reaction time from Yorosmai, and good creep spread. Not even creep spread. I thought that base was connected. I was gonna say good creep spread allowed him to get there in time, but the roaches just have that roach speed, and they move pretty quick on their own. We do have a sensor tower, which is going to help the Terran player defend against mutas, but I feel like it needs to be farther over because he wants to see the approach of the muta. The muta aren't going to come up the middle, so we'll see what happens in the future. Here we've got a bunch of Hellions going up here to check for Lings. I think he's planning an expansion to the left, and he is. In fact, there is a command center here. And, God, I got things rolling. I've got words coming out of my mouth properly. I like this. I'm getting used to casting again. Huh. I was a little bit rocky at the start. It was like throwing up in your shoes and then wearing those shoes for the rest of the day. Everything just becomes a little more awkward. It doesn't matter what it is. You're sitting next to relatives in the living room. Just awkward shoe vomit. I don't even know what to say. But, yeah, transitioning into this late game, we're seeing Vikings in the mix. Kind of, this Terran seems to really know the Zerg metagame, really seems to know the Zerg timings, which is very vital. You can see that even before scouting a Greater Spire, he's got these Vikings out because he knows, even though he saw Infestors, and we got Hellions down here again. Almost missed that, guys, I'm sorry. And those Hellions do go down. So even though we saw Infestors, the Terran player knows that those Broodlords are on the way, and that's why he is getting those Vikings, probably also to deal with the Muta, but I mean, it's going to help him doubly. We do see this Gold Expo going down, and the Terran player will be slowly falling behind if he allows that Gold Expo to get up. Unable to defend this base. This is the downside of mech, ladies and gentlemen. He cannot get over there as the ramp is on the far side. I feel like clearing the creep and taking the gold would have been a better decision for this Terran player. These Vikings will get over there in time to save the command center, and we don't even see full saturation over here at Symfeo's 3rd, which is interesting, and I'm surprised. But that being said, you can see him floating in minerals, so it doesn't even matter. One of the biggest adversaries Terran have is gas, and you know, keeping your gases saturated and finding new gas, because you need so much gas intake to support a mech army. That is the struggle of Terran. So we will see Yorosmai building up quite the scary ball of Broodlords, Infestors, Roaches. It will be up to him to keep his Broodlords in a place where they are unscathed. So many players lose their Broodlords due to sloppy placement. And this army here, this mech army, is so scary. But Infestors can do so much damage to a ball of Vikings like this. These Roaches will kind of poke up ahead to see what's there. These Vikings are getting ahead of themselves. The command center scouts the Roaches. Does it scout the Broodlords? I'm not sure. Of course it saw the Broodlords. The Broodlords were shooting. But what I want to say is, sorry, did they scout the infestors? Because he did back off with those Vikings, which is surprising to me. He knows that if they get fungal growth, they're going to die, all of them. They're going to get caught in fungals, and they're going to get chain fungal to death. And it's a very scary thing for any Terran player who's built up quite a large air force. Getting a caught in psionic storm, anything like that, you've got to watch out for those AoE attacks. And you've seen split up his army into 2 groups, although the air army is back into that one group. You do see ravens in the mix, which I like. I'm not even sure what the ravens are for in this particular situation. PDD isn't going to stop much that's here. Maybe it stops roaches, I'm not even sure. But I never... Oh my god, just watch these roaches melt. That was kind of a waste for Yorosmai. Maybe he was trying to clear up supply. I think that might be the case. He's down to 178, and you do see 4 infestors on the way, and just a shit ton of upgrades. Oh my god. I feel like the armor upgrades for Zerg are probably the coolest looking upgrades in the production tab. They just look so ridiculous, where everybody else's armor upgrades, like Terran upgrades, are just like a shield and a gun. And it's like pretty lame ass looking shield and gun, if you ask me. And like the upgrades here are just like fucking spikes and spikes with more spikes and armor plated and spikes with teeth. And yeah, anyway, oh my god, dumping more roaches into this army and actually making some pretty good trades. Siege tanks doing some friendly splash here, which I don't know. There's SCVs in the mix, which is going to be useful later when he's dealing with Yorosmai's army. There's SCVs for repair, so key. There's a Thor with next to no health. I'm trying to get a click on it. Here we go. And will we see an engagement here? Broodlings up front, so the Broodlords have been revealed if they haven't been already. Fungal growth going down on almost all the Vikings. More Vikings up front. We're seeing mind controls on the Ravens, and this is such a big engagement here. Broodlords doing as much damage as they can from a distance, but these siege tanks are ridiculous. We saw a lot of infestors go down to the siege tanks, and there aren't many corruptors in the air now to defend against the Vikings, but we did see most of the Vikings go down, and they do get picked off by a fungal again, losing so many Vikings one after another. Siege tanks moving forward and fungal in place. They cannot get out of the way, and these Ravens trying to Hunter-Seeker, landing a nice Hunter-Seeker missile on the corruptors, and this air battle has gone in favor of Yorosmai. Sinfio GGing out of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, SSN Yorosmai, rank 1 Master League. Hope you guys enjoyed this game. Links in the description if you want to follow those guys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time.